Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country.
Thank you. Ora minaloa. Good afternoon and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you here this afternoon. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. My family actually descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. And so he enrolled his daughter, Bulungari, or Maria, into the Native Institute, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and with her newly acquired skills lobbied and ultimately secured some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name from. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your success is our success. Your advancement, our advancement. Now that was probably better understood in traditional times when clan groups were smaller and abided by the strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your efforts and good fortune with us enjoyed by all, and your skill literally nourished the rest of the community. And you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it right. Now, our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a benchmark or a model on how good we can expect our lives. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as one of the happiest people he had met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools they carried. They were naked, made their shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the earth without tilling it. There was no slavery, no rich and poor, and no homelessness. Armies were unheard of, as were forts or jails. There was no rent, no mortgages. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, and they were shared out then according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state, with rivers and waterholes clean and people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now remember, this is not an ideal or a dream. This was normal life, and not so very long ago. And I don't think there is any reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us now. But we're a clever people, and there's still much magic in the world. So I would say expect great and wonderful things from your life. We're at a time when the world can go this way or that way, and I think if we all pull together and remember what's important, what's really important, that we can probably come up with a country and a world that is worthy of our children and one that we can be proud of again. So we can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Welcome to country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, first I want to thank all of you for coming. A graduation ceremony is an important celebration of achievement, the achievements of our graduands and I might say also the achievement of the university. So it's very good that you're here, and I'm very grateful that you are. I also want to thank, and especially thank, those of you who have brought children with you. It's good for them that they're here because their memories of today and of the importance of today may one day be the thing that inspires them to emulate the successes of today's graduands. And their presence is good for us too, because every celebration is enhanced by the presence of children. Now, unless children have changed enormously since I was a child, few of them will be able to stay quiet or still for the duration of a graduation ceremony. And I don't expect them to or want them to, and I don't want you to worry if they don't. They are most welcome, and please let them run around and make as much commotion as they like. And if you've got babies, little babies, and I see there are a few and they start to wail and cry, that's good too. You don't have to take them outside. We actually much prefer them to stay inside because we've discovered from long experience that if a baby cries during a graduation ceremony, it's all the more likely that they'll be back within 25 years to take out their first degree. So please don't discourage their crying and don't run outside when they start to. Now, the most important thing today is that our graduands have a great day. I hope that this will be a very happy and a very, very memorable occasion for all of you, but it will only be a happy occasion if you will just sit back and relax. Some of you look happy and relaxed, some of you look as though you're about to go into the exam room rather than pick up your degree. There is nothing to worry about today, nothing can go wrong. Well, I suppose it can, you can trip over as you walk like that. That's why I've got all these people here, highly paid people. They're here to pick you up if you fall over. And the other thing, sometimes this falls off, but we can pick that up and plonk it back on your head. But you should enjoy the day because you deserve to take pride, great pride in your graduation. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Also, I want to congratulate all of you who are here today as the guests of our graduands, because if you stop and think about it for a moment, you've all obviously also done well. The very fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you have been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role. I have another important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure that you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, it won't surprise you to know that Macquarie University is not one of those 500. We're very young. In fact, we celebrated our 50th anniversary only 2 years ago. We proudly take our name from Australia's greatest colonial governor, Governor Lachlan Macquarie, a man whose greatness and achievements were never acknowledged by his contemporaries, but only by history. Those of us who went to school here in New South Wales learned that Macquarie was a great builder, but his greatest legacy had nothing to do with bricks and mortar. His greatest legacy was the ethos he established much to the annoyance of the British authorities, of an egalitarian society, because it was Macquarie's insistence that in this fledgling convict colony there be no distinction between the free and the freed that was the foundation of the Australian notion of a fair go for all. And that is the legacy that here at Macquarie we will always aim to maintain and honour. After our first 52 years, we now have more than 170,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're now ranked in the top 2% of the world's universities. From our beginnings, we have defied the traditional boundaries of academia. We have pioneered and continue to pioneer learning and teaching approaches that challenge conventions and shift thinking. Our students play a major role in their own learning and are empowered to guide what and how they learn. We're also research pioneers. Our framework for the future, world-leading research with world-changing impact, is brought to life by renowned researchers whose bold and innovative solutions to issues of global significance are of enormous benefit to the world we live in. And by the way, they're not empty words, that's not an idle boast. I don't know how many of you are aware that Wi-Fi, something that most of us use every day, these days in our normal lives, was something not developed at Harvard University or Oxford University or Cambridge or even the ANU or Melbourne or Sydney University. No, Wi-Fi was developed by Macquarie University scientists in conjunction with CSIRO scientists. I'm sure you'll agree that's something to be quite proud of. We're also rather proud of some of our new facilities. On your way here today, you may have seen our Macquarie University Hospital, which is only a few years old. The hospital forms part of a very exciting medical enterprise, which will be Australia's first fully integrated academic health sciences centre under a university's leadership. We are the only university in Australia that owns and operates its own hospital. And it's a great hospital too, I can assure you of that from personal experience. A couple of years ago, I was a patient there for 3 days, and I can assure you that the care and attention is absolutely first rate, especially when you're the Chancellor. So I recommend it to you. Other outstanding new facilities are our library, only a few years old, our Australian Hearing Hub, which is a world-leading institute in hearing and language sciences, a state-of-the-art media centre, a newly launched simulation hub for teaching and research, and cutting-edge science laboratories. Now, that's not to say that all of our lecture rooms and laboratories are first class. They're not. In fact, some are downright crappy. But we plan to fix that, and in the very near future we'll be announcing some very exciting plans for a major physical transformation of our campus. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. Here at Macquarie we have a very clear and straightforward mission, and that mission is to transform people's lives and to improve the lives not just of our own students, but also of people all around the globe by the work and achievements of our graduates and by the fruit of our research. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Well, graduands and ladies and gentlemen, it's now my great pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Emeritus Professor Nicholas Onuf. Nicholas is Professor Emeritus at the Florida International University in Miami. In the course of his 50-year career, he's been affiliated with 16 universities on 4 different continents. He's the author of 4 books and a co-author of 2. He's also the editor or co-editor of another 4 books, and he is currently editing a handbook on the history, philosophy and sociology of international relations. Professor Onuf is responsible for many dozens of articles in professional journals and symposium volumes and an uncounted number of reviews, essays and interviews. He is best known as a pioneer in bringing social constructivism into the field of international relations. I now invite Emeritus Professor Nicholas Onuf to deliver the occasional address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Onuf.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Egan, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Simons, and members of the university faculty and staff. Most of all, good afternoon to those of you who are graduating today from the Faculty of Arts, and to your long-suffering and very proud families and friends. My instructions for this speech advise me to make some light-hearted observations of relevance to the graduating students. Well, I'm not going to be lighthearted. These are troubled times, and you know it as well as I do. The instructions also suggested a number of appropriate themes. One is to give the students my advice on how to be ethically responsible members of society. I can think of nothing more fitting in the circumstance. As it happens, I have been mulling over the problem of an ethics for these troubled times for many years. The more I think about the rise of the modern world over the last 5 centuries, and this is mostly what I have been thinking about for 2 decades, the clearer it is, at least to me, that modern ethical systems cannot serve the needs of the moment. More precisely, no modern ethical system can hope to be universal and, at the same time, provide anything nearly specific enough to guide us through the complexities of our lives together on this planet. There is, however, a candidate for an ethical system without universalizing pretensions. It goes back to ancient Greece, and yet it has been the subject of a significant revival in recent decades. Called virtue ethics, it is routinely held up against modern ethical systems because it locates the normative thrust of conduct in character and education and not in rules, whether universal or local. Virtue ethics has much to offer in today's world. To see how this is so, I need to say a bit more about virtue. Virtue relies on deliberation and choice. There is, however, no direct sense of necessity or obligation attaching to virtue. There are many virtues calling for conduct of one sort or another. Yet 4 have become canonical. They are the cardinal virtues: wisdom and or prudence, courage or bravery, justice, and temperance or moderation. Convention holds the cardinal virtues to have come from Plato, but it is Aristotle to whom we must turn if we are to understand how virtue can drive our conduct. For Aristotle, virtue is simultaneously a disposition to seek excellence, an activity or way of being excellent, and even the state of excellence achieved and thus worthy of praise. The cardinal virtues are not unified in such a way as to constitute a principle or generalizable standard of worth. Instead of a principle, we find the faculty of self-control at the center of the ring of cardinal virtues. Aristotle made the lack of self-control a central theme in his ethics. He was not alone. The great 18th century thinker Adam Smith made self-command central to ethical conduct, not to mention self-approbation. Self-control is listening to one's conscience. Admiration, contempt, and indignation are the social mechanisms for operationalizing Smith's ethical theory. Their force stems from our need to be praised. By making self-control a human universal, explained by our need for praise, and hinting at the normative consequences of praise and blame, Smith transformed virtue ethics into an ethical system. If we all respond to praise and blame more or less the same way, this pattern of responses duly acquires normative weight. Virtues become duties. As an ethical system, virtue ethics does not order the virtues in importance. Not only is priority relative to position in any society discernible as such, but also relative to the conditions in which that society is obliged to operate. It is the one ethical system that takes every society to be status ordered. I take modern society to be status ordered. Whatever we say about ourselves, whatever our modern ethical systems assume in the way of natural human equality. We know or find our position in society by reference to the titles, honors, privileges, liberties, and immunities that we know to be ours. The content of one's duties corresponds to our worldly position. We can identify our duties first by constructing a checklist of virtues, starting with the four cardinal virtues, by reference to one's position. Presumably, any reasonable person can do this. Self-control is taken for granted. Fulfilling our duties is virtuous, expected by people in all positions, and backed by the positive sanction of admiration and the negative sanction of disapproval experienced as shame. As a general matter, people who have the least standing in any society have the fewest or least demanding duties. People in the highest positions are held to the highest standards. Privilege permits or creates opportunities for bad, vicious, or corrupt behavior arising from lack of self-control. Those who have or can expect to have the highest positions in society, I'm looking at you, have the greatest privilege as well as the greatest burden of duty. If any ethical system speaks to the future, it can only be virtue ethics. Now, I realize that most of you will continue to assume that modern ethical systems suffice for today's world. Most of you will think that virtue ethics simply does not provide us with the guidance that we need. You will say that we cannot trust ourselves and each other to act in good conscience. I ask, what choice do we have? You may insist that we should be more sensitive to the many problems in applying universal principles in concrete situations. I say, you will be practicing virtue ethics without realizing it. I thank you all for your attention, and graduates, I wish you well as you go forward in these troubled times.
Well, graduands and ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree that it was a truly outstanding occasional address, a very thought-provoking occasional address, and a very challenging occasional address. So I think Professor Onuf really puts a challenge to you, and I'm sure you will respond well to it. I think he deserves another great round of applause. Well, graduands, we now come to the key part of today's ceremony, the reason that we're here, and that is the conferring of degrees. Now, I mentioned earlier that there was no reason for any of you to be nervous about anything, but this is the part of the ceremony that makes me just a little bit nervous, because I've been told by some of the greatest legal minds in the country that if I were to confer a degree on someone who was not eligible to receive it, there's no way I can take it back. So I have to make absolutely certain before you receive your degree that you are qualified to receive it. And for that reason, I need to ask the Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Registrar, Deirdre Anderson, to give me an ironclad guarantee that none of you were ever late in submitting an assignment and that none of you ever skipped a class. Deirdre, can you give me that guarantee, please?
Chancellor, I certify that all the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees they are to be awarded. May I ask all candidates to now please stand.
Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Will you please be seated? Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. Students and staff in this faculty work together within and across disciplinary boundaries to ask questions about socially complex problems. They identify paths of research, analyse and communicate ideas in creative ways, and reflect on the skills and knowledge they need to understand the world both past and present. Students are encouraged to use their skills and talents to connect with local and global communities. This faculty includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, English, Indigenous studies, international studies, law, media, music, communication and cultural studies, modern history, politics, international relations, philosophy, sociology and security studies, including criminology. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Martina Mollering to present the graduates. Professor Mollering.
Chancellor, included amongst the graduates today is the posthumous award of Bachelor of Arts to Michael Dominic Burgess, and we acknowledge his family here today. We celebrate Michael's achievements as his cohort graduates today. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Arts whom you have admitted to degrees. I present the graduate admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Ancient History with first class honours, Max McLennan Gillings. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Ancient History. Amanda Jessica Bryce. Benjamin Harold William Calvert. Jarvis Ethan Prestige. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Lavasati Aliva. Rachel May Ambrose. Craig Beeston. Andrew Richard Booth. Alison Christine Brooks. Jacinta Brownlee. Elizabeth Byers. Blaise Trenchard. Nicole Louise Charalambos. Danielle Chorley. Michael Alex Edgar. Lynn Ellis. Mazin El Masri. Alexandra Jankouk Ferrandis. Jeanette Ferris. Lauren Louise Gardner. Diane Galson.
Husband and wife.
Christine Holmes. Andrew Jia Wang Wang. Maya Ikeda. Lucy Marie Irwin. Patricia Kershaw. Sebastian Loizaga. Rowan Robin Marshall. Nancy McCann. Chloe McCormick. Marguerite Pamela Nash. Barbaros Ona. Sean Gregory Pearson. Darinka Alexandra Anna Bolster Popadic. Sybil Mary Richardson. Amira Kitale Robinson. Lafta Sawari. Shara Silk. Alexandra Sloan. Stephen Luke Smith. Bradley Robert Stade. John Blachos. Nicola Kate Besseling. Megan Danielle Wilson. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Social Science. Minusha Balasharige. Brian Lindsay Garden. Angela Hakim. Lachlan Hickey. Jennifer Nguyen. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Arts.
Congratulations.
Louise Elton Beasley. Jay Livet Favotto. Veronique Aimé Gaudry. Jean Ann Horden. Elizabeth Ann Phipps, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Ross Osborne Poulton. Lambros Tapinos. Aislinn Worth. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Relations. Rebecca Megan Armstrong. Julie Yvonne de Carpentry. Zachary Fell. Amanda Louise Moller. Carolina Rasse. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Policy and Applied Social Research. Madeline Brown. Leanne Marie Flaherty. Meredith N. Gilmore. Catherine N. Hoven, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Noel Yandamutsu Sihabamwe. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Politics and Public Policy. Daniel James Komensuli. Nicholas Kenny. Flynn McDermott. Melissa Jane Macquarie. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Research. Samuel Peter Cook for a thesis entitled An Examination of Greek Conjunctions in Non-Literary Coptic in the Late Byzantine Early Islamic Period. Laura Kate Hickey for a thesis entitled The Sordid Occupations and Attitudes Towards Them in the Late Roman Republic, Some Studies in Literary Evidence. Shanta Cassandra Nair for a thesis entitled Epigenetic Regulation of Immunity, Methylation Profiling in the Mealworm Beetle, Tenebrium molitor. Rice Stratford Walker for a thesis entitled Why Don't You Get a Job? The Post-War System, the Neoliberal System, and Australian Employment Policy. Cameron James Wood for a thesis entitled A Common Wheel of True Nobility, Thomas Starkey and Italian Renaissance Republican Thought in 16th Century England. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Amanda Louise Drummond for a thesis entitled Rediscovering Imperial Biography and Reconstructing Plutarch's Life of Augustus. Dr. Courtney Mary Hercus for a thesis entitled The Lost Discourses of International Economic Rights, a critical approach to the construction of human rights. Dr. Lynette Beverly Hicks for a thesis entitled Dim and Dimmer, an exploration of the production and diffusion of scientific knowledge in Australia between the 1770s and the 2010s. Dr. Susan Margaret Loftus for a thesis entitled The Construction of Episcopal Authority in Late Antique Gaul, a case study of the role of canon law from the 6th century. Dr. Edwina Jane Murphy for a thesis entitled Cyprian's Use of Corn. Dr. Vicky Petrakis for a thesis entitled St. Gregory, the Theologian's Doctrine of the Logos and its Antecedents. Dr. David Bramwell Pettit for a thesis entitled Samuel Marston, Blinkered Visionary, a re-examination of his character and circumstances through the study of his sermons. Dr. Lynn T. Pham for a thesis entitled Understanding the Transformative Potential of International Education for Vietnamese Overseas Graduates and Their Communities. Dr. Alexandra Robinson for a thesis entitled Jude on the Attack, a comparative analysis of the Epistle of Jude, Jewish judgment oracles, and Greco-Roman invective. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Amelia N. Hawkshaw. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Chancellor, I call on Dr. Courtney Marie Herkes, who's graduated today with a Doctor of Philosophy, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Dr. Herkes.
Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduates and guests, it is a tremendous honour to address you today. I want to extend my congratulations to all of the graduates in this auditorium. Today is a result of years of hard work, determination and perseverance. To graduate is an excellent achievement, a credit to you all, and a great cause for celebration. I remember on the most stressful days of my PhD, very much looking forward to this day. We have all survived the assignments and essays, the late nights, the exam stress, and the deadlines. It's finally time for photos and canapes on the lawn, weather permitting. Today is a fitting closure for those years of study, and both the stresses and the joys, unless, of course, you decide to return for postgraduate study and another graduation. I've had the immense privilege of attending Macquarie University throughout my undergraduate and postgraduate studies. I have loved learning, researching, being challenged, and expanding my mind. Macquarie has allowed me to ask so many questions and to grow to better understand the world around me. I would like to express my thanks to the Faculty of Arts. Thank you to the tutors, lecturers, professors, and supervisors who have made learning engaging and inspiring. We would not be here today without you all. Personally, I would particularly like to thank my PhD supervisor, Dr. Noah Bassel, for his support and guidance. Thank you also to the faculty for enabling me to undertake research overseas and allowing me to present my findings at international conferences. I'm also very grateful for the constant encouragement and support of my husband, family, and friends. To the parents, guardians, spouses, partners, family, and friends here today, your patience and kindness have been invaluable. Tertiary education is an incredible opportunity and privilege. We are so fortunate to be in a country with accessible education and with a safe learning environment. As Macquarie graduates, we can emerge from university with the ability to think critically, to analyse and problem solve, and with valuable communication skills. I hope that our studies have also introduced us to greater knowledge about the history of our world, its current affairs, and its inequalities. I hope that we can proceed with empathy, greater understanding, and the ability to analyse our views and our choices. Congratulations once again to all of the graduates. I wish you joy and success in your future endeavours. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Mary, not only on your speech this afternoon, but also on your graduation with a PhD, which is a great achievement, a tremendous achievement. But don't think that things stop there. Where are you? There she is. You can always come back for another. We, in fact, I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before, we had one PhD student who was picking up his 5th PhD. And we had one this morning who was 82 years of age. So you've got a long time to go and you can pick up a lot of PhDs. And do continue to come here at Macquarie to do it too. So well done. I think she deserves another great round of applause.
Orizzonte mancano le parole, sì lo sono, tu sai che ti guardo, ma da quando mancano sole, se non ci sei tu con me, su le finestre mostra tutti il mio cuore che hai acceso, chiudi dentro me la luce che hai incontrato per strada.
Well, I mean, that wasn't too bad, was it? That glorious voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. And you don't know how lucky you were today to have Angela singing at your graduation. She sings at almost all of them, but sometimes for one reason or another she can't get here. And when she can't, I do the singing. I've got to say, for me, the best part of a graduation ceremony is hearing Angela sing. I've heard her sing on so many occasions now, and I think this week and next week I'm going to hear her sing another 15 times, and I'm looking forward to each one of those 15 times. I think she deserves another great round of applause. And we're also very fortunate to have great musicians performing at our graduations. Over there we have Dr. James Forsyth on the organ, and on the Chinese traverse flute, Dr. Chai Chang Ning. And sitting around the side of the hall on that side and some over there, we have some of our alumni volunteers who come along to make sure that the ceremony goes smoothly and to ensure that you have a great graduation ceremony. They deserve your applause as well. And also sitting behind me are some representatives of our academic community, the people who've been guiding you along the way and teaching you. And they're a great bunch of people, and I'm sure you'd like to thank them too. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University. But it is certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of 170,000 Macquarie alumni spanning the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please make sure that you do come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, or perhaps use our aquatic and fitness facilities, or even if the mood takes you, just to come back to wander through the grounds or even enjoy a picnic down by the lake. Well, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the betterment of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you today. So, to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a few things. Graduates, would you now please all stand? Now I want you to place your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free. And I'd like you to turn around to face your families and your friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Well, graduates can turn around now, but I suggest you don't sit down because we'll be leaving in just a moment. But I would remind you to pick up your degrees just in case you happen to leave one behind. That wouldn't be good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, shortly I will lead the official party out through the centre aisle, and I'd be very grateful if you would all join the academic procession. The graduates will follow those of us up here through the centre aisle, and then we'd like all of you to follow us right down to the marquee overlooking the lake, where we have some light refreshments for you. So would everyone now please stand and remain standing until the last of the graduates are processed out. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future. And in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Graduates, good luck.